Hello and welcome to this lecture. Now we're going to set up our systems and we have to follow several steps. Don't worry, it might look more intimidating as it actually is. So there are just 5 steps and I'm going to present it on a theoretical level in this video, and afterwards we're going to implement it together practically. So the first step is that you need to have Python installed on your system. You will find out how this works in some later slides. Then you need some IDE, some integrated development environment for interacting with Python. And there are several ones available nowadays. You can use Visual Studio Code, Cursor, PyCharm, Windsurf, whatever. I'm going to work with Cursor, which is basically the same as Visual Studio Code, just with some AI assistant included, but I'm going to present every step. We are not going to use this AI assistant. But anyhow, you have heard about many different options here, and it's up to you which one to choose. I'm also going to show you several shortcuts, so some small hints how you can speed up your development. So that might be one reason to work with me in Cursor, but it's up to you to use something else. The next part is that you need to have access to all the material. You are going to fetch it from Git. There are some ways that you can directly clone the repository in which all the course scripts are, or you can just go to the page, download everything as a zip file, extract it and work with that. So I'm going to show you both ways. One is based on the local installation of Git, then you have to configure it in a certain way, and then you can clone the complete repository. And the last part is about environments. And that's a super important one, so I'm going to spend some minutes talking about environments. But first things first, we need to install Python. So we are going to then head over to python.org, look for the right version. We are going to install it, all very standard, nothing fancy here, and then you have Python installed on your system. The next part is going to be that we are going to download Git. Just install everything. Then here are the commands for configuration. You need to configure for the first time use your username and email before you can use it. And then you can clone everything with the command git clone. And you will see later how this works. Then, once we have installed our IDE, we also need to install certain extensions for making the interaction a bit easier. And now we're going to touch on the topic of environments. And before I tell you how we're going to tackle this, I want to start out with the problem that environments are solving. And the problem is basically that you typically don't just work on one project, but you work on many different projects. And it might be that you are working on project A, which is relying on a certain Python version, and let's say there is a certain package called XYZ with a version number 100. And then if you only have one shared environment, all the packages are in the same place, then there can be only one specific Python version, and there can be only one specific version of that package that is needed. And if you're starting out with project B, you are possibly forced to update your Python version and also to update your package version. But then if you want to go back to project A, it might not work anymore because some functions are deprecated, something is not working anymore, the interface has changed, and you cannot work on both projects simultaneously. And here environments come into play. Basically what this means is that for all the projects that you're having, you are creating a dedicated environment, which is a combination of a specific Python version and a number of different packages. And based on that system, you are now capable of running project A on your system as well as project B. So there's no problem anymore The only downside of this approach is that you need up more disk space because you have duplicated environments. Many packages are several times on your system, but nowadays that's not such a big deal. So that is the approach that we are going to follow. This also means that once we have set up our course environment, you cannot create harm to other projects on your system because everything is fenced and you are just using this dedicated environment, and there should be no negative side effect on other projects. Good. The next question is then naturally, how do we do that? What different ways are there to create such an environment? And there are different packages for that purpose. I'm just going to name some. There are, for example, Conda, which is requiring some installation of Anaconda. Then there is Venv, that's still very popular and a very simple and good environment framework. Then you have Poetry, which is a bit more modern and also very good. But my favorite is actually UV. It's the most modern out of these ones, but the main advantage is that it's lightning fast. So it's some implementation based on Rust, so some language that is very close to the machine, and the installation is extremely fast if you install a package that has been cached before, and it's also very simple to use. And if you want to use UV, you will see then that we only have to install it once with pip, and then after we have cloned the repository, there is a configuration file with all the packages that we're going to need in this course. So you only have to run UV sync, and the environment is going to be created with all the packages that I use in this course, and you are up and running. So this is the best way to use it. Then you only have to activate it and you are ready to go. The last part is only that for certain packages on Windows we need to have C++ build tools installed. So I'm also going to show you how to do that. And once you have downloaded and installed everything, then we are really ready to go. So these are the different steps that we are going to go through in the next lecture. I'm going to show you everything, and then we can start building some code. Great, that's it. Thanks a lot and see you in the next one.